How y'all doing? This is a new episode of Real Talk with Jamez King L. I have a real guest. He's been through it all, from the struggle, the triumph. I mean, he's been triumphant in a lot of situations. He started from the bottom. He was a have-not. He was not born with a silver spoon in his mouth. You wouldn't think that nowadays if you see him. You know what I mean? But he don't come from that. He became that. You know what I mean? He defied all the odds, and all of the odds were stacked against him. As he's about to share with you, he's been through all of the struggles. And I say all that to say, if you persevere, you could become something different than what you're trying to persevere from, right? And a lot of times, people that come from the so-called hood, they make up a lot of excuses on their conditioning and the situations they are in, and they use that as a crutch to prevent them from taking accountability and moving forward. So this is actually our second take, because due to no fault of his, I ran out of memory on my card, so that's about accountability. I'm holding myself accountable real quick. But with that being said, this guy is an inspirational figure in the community. He went from the very bottom to the top of the top. He's now achieving all the goals that he has set out to achieve, you know, which makes him a winner. And in our communities, you rarely see any. And this is my first guest that I'm interviewing that is an inspiration, that is from Pleasantville, New Jersey. It's a small town right outside of Atlantic City, New Jersey. And I told certain people that I had a special interview coming from somebody from the Illville, you know what I mean? And it was gonna catch them all off guard. And I really thought about this, and I really thought hard. And you know, we have people that we might celebrate for the negativity that they've done only, and we reward bad behavior in the community. I said, nah, on this one, we're gonna start this off different. We're gonna start with somebody that came from that, but defied all odds and created something great, and is an inspiration to the younger people and even people in our age bracket that are just one hit away from a change in their life and a success. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce you to y'all a good friend of mine, like a lot of us say, a childhood friend. I've known him since before we knew ourselves. So with that being said, I welcome Louis Andujar of Papi's Auto Care to Vibe 609 Radio. How you doing, Lou?
Good, brother. How you been?
I've been well. It was a long time coming for this. We done built so many times just in our little, you know, inner workings with each other here and there and stuff like that. Because I definitely support Papi's Auto Care to start that off. We'll get back to that.
Appreciate
But yes, absolutely. I recommend it to everybody watching. Go through. This is a real one, as y'all about to find out. So, Lou, how did your story start?
I started in 1975. I'm a 75 baby. Out of Chicago, Illinois.
Yes, sir.
That might be kind of new to the people that know me.
Including me.
Yeah, born in Chicago. Actually not raised, but born there. Was raised a little bit in my time, moving back and forth with separation from the parents. You know how that goes. Mom following dad. You know, you're gonna help me with these 7 kids. You know how that goes.
Right.
So moving back and forth from Chicago, New Jersey to Miami, Miami back to Jersey, then to Trenton back to Jersey, then from Jersey back to Chicago. It was tough. It was a lot of dysfunctional going on, which plays a factor in my upbringing.
Right.
That out of all that, I mean, we still managed. I have to applaud my mom for keeping us still together, doing what she had to do to keep us together and not have the system take partial of these kids, take that kid. No, she still. There's a lot of trials and tribulations that I remember and I can recall that I always share with my mom to this day, and she looks at me like, wow, how you remember that? I'm like, sometimes she don't remember. I'm like, I do remember, Mom. But sleeping in the parks in Chicago when we had to wait to get approved to get them vouchers to come back from Chicago on Greyhound back to Jersey, when my mom said, you know what, screw it. and I'm gonna stop chasing your father. I'm just gonna raise y'all and to the best of my ability. So I remember them nights in them parks, sleeping in her friend's van because her husband couldn't take us all in the house. And until them vouchers got cleared, and we was on that Greyhound coming across the Jersey. But yeah, it's a nice story, and it pretty much, as I got older, I realized a lot of big steps, meaning reflecting. That's a big thing that we should all look into, is reflecting, because it prevents for any failure, any tripping or relapse into where we came from. And I was a person that had many opportunities to get into any type of negativity, rather it's drugs, guns, gangs. I was peer pressured by that my whole life. And I pretty much chose a little bit of everything just to experience it, but really not too deep into it. But I still had access to every negativity that was around, that pretty much exists. Growing up, hitting teens, I pretty much started experiencing at 13, 12, experiencing girls, had a childhood friend by the name of Ding. Very good childhood friend. We go way back. That introduced me into that, into the girly things. But pretty much, I don't understand poking me in my damn eye. Yeah, pretty much had outlets to a lot of the negativity. I had outlets to all that.
So what was the first thing that you were consumed by as far as trouble was concerned in your young childhood?
The typical being disobedient, just stealing, throwing snowballs at grown-ups.
Oh, that was you.
Yeah, so it was fun. We did it with laughter behind it.
You said stealing, right?
We was stealing materialistic things that didn't belong to us.
Now let me ask you this, because there are a lot of people. There's songs out right now. This is what's relevant to what you're saying. There's a song out right now that's encouraging people to steal and as boosters, and to sell the stuff on the black market and spend all the money as soon as they make and all that. I want you to touch on, why did you steal?
It was. Now that I'm older, it was things that I know I couldn't ask my parents for. So you get it the best way you can. I think stealing, it's nothing that is taught. It's just you don't want to be seen taking something that is not yours. I think stealing it's natural. It just comes. You don't want to be seen touching something, taking something, or whatever. Stealing is not taught. It's not taught.
But what I'm wondering is, like, a lot of times people steal because they say they bad people, and then sometimes people steal because it's a necessity, because that's the only way they can get it at that point in time. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to express that because it's not right, but it's understandable that if I don't steal some food, I'm going to die of starvation. It's like a big difference. That's why I brought that up in particular, because the song is out. It's like just glorifying it. Like, it's, even if you don't need it, you should do it and make it a lifestyle. So that's why.
What's the difference of today's era when you hear people make it a lifestyle? Boosting is just for themselves and appearance, or to make money off, or whatever the case may be. But it's a difference when our era, when we stole things, it was, you couldn't afford it.
Right.
Boosting now, according to how it is now, it's the theme now. It's the thing now that's being pushed out through, music, this and that. It's just, you could glorify it, but it's really, that today's struggle is totally different from the struggle that was back then.
Right.
Because now, today's era, today's time, these folks that's, making music behind this and that is, they have access to that. It's just, people give you clothes now.
Right.
I was sharing clothes back then.
Right.
It's the difference.
Absolutely.
When I know your waistline is way bigger than mine, I didn't care. Just fold it, roll it up.
That's right. That's
so,
right.
I mean, it's a difference.
The real struggle.
Right. It is really, today's struggle is, it hits people with drugs now. And it's just, today's struggle has nothing, you can't even compare it to the real struggle. Today's struggle is, it's injected in you now. It's just, they put you on it now. It's more into government population to me, control to me, but that's the way I observe today's struggle in people. Is, it's just, they want you, they force that on you. Well, us, it was just natural.
Right.
Parents, the system was more crowded then than it is now. The way I view it, because they had so many channels, outlets to control you, to put you somewhere. Back then, it was just waiting in line.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or parents had friends and we all looked each other out. We can't leave our kids now with Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Right.
But today's generation is totally different. Back then, your mom could discipline me, and my mom was fine with it.
Right.
So
vice versa, absolutely.
yeah, it was like that, and it was pretty much it's totally different. It's totally different. It's totally different. And
so I know I had changed your direction you was going, but I wanted to touch on that. Now, when you grew a little bit older and began to get a little older, have more access, what happened in those years?
Well, as you get older, you venture off from your upbringing, from your childhood friends that you did things with, the stealing and all that.
Right.
When you get into those, because of the living condition changes and, job changes, poverty is real, and that all changes. So parents, you move and you lose sight of the childhood friends you did things with, and you go venture off. So when you get to them teen years, you still see the kids you did things with, but you start experiencing new things when you see that man on the corner, when hustling was there, you started being in the midst of things, and when hustling was there and it was being glorified, when you start getting to a different type of, a new set of friends, they're older than you, that's when a lot of peer pressure kicked in. Where I wanted to, because I didn't have a father in my upbringing, where there was no role model there. So I'm the oldest of 4 boys, so I was forced to go out there to experience a lot of things. And I picked and choose that I was okay in, But that's pretty much what gave me an outlook, something to do. But at the same time, now that I'm older, I could reflect on it. It was a lot of peer pressure, not knowing it was peer pressure.
Now, what were some of the things that the peer pressure led to in your life?
Peer pressure led me to taking trips to places that I had no business being at, but I had to tag along. Peer pressure was forced to go hit that guy because he did this. I did it because I figured it was fun. But how I label it now is because as I got older and I reflect on my life, I'm like, man, that was peer pressure.
Right.
But I looked at it was just a thing to do. So that's where, it was fun doing it. It was fun because I got introduced to a lot of things. It was girls, meetups, going to lakes, and me being at a young age with no curfew. You know, you put all that pressure on your parents. Where you at? This and that and that. But it wasn't so much. You can't call me. I ain't had no phone. You know, it wasn't no phones like that. So it was. Hey, when you see, let them know I was looking. So if the news traveled like that, through you know, voice. You know, so. But that pretty much led me to expose me to a lot, to guns, drugs, weapons. That just, you know.
Talk about it.
You know.
Give me an example.
That pretty much, that just, as you get older, you pretty much know what a gun does. It's protection. It's just, that was a no-brainer.
Right.
You know, but it was always there. Everything that I needed, it was there. I had access to everything. I could have picked and chose anything I wanted to get into, dive into, but I chose to be, now that I reflect on it, I was neutral the whole time.
Right.
But I had access to a lot of stuff. It was just like, it was just different lanes. It's like the streets of New York, pick a lane, you know? So I had access to a lot of negativity, you know, but I stayed to be neutral, close to home, smoke, drink. It was the thing to do. You had girls. There was a time where...
How did you get the name Kilo G?
That was a name that was given to me through Lil Dave, which a lot of people know as David Anderson.
Right.
I lived in Woodland for like maybe about 3 months when my mom was, until she get housed into a house or whatever, when we came back from Chicago. Yeah, that name came in. I never sold a kilo in my life. So, you know, so when people say that, oh, they used to hustle. No, I hustled, but I never seen a kilo in my life. Never sold a kilo in my life. But it was just a name that came out of Eazy-E, one of my favorite rappers, out of his Boys in the Hood song. But it was a name that stuck with me. And to me, I consider myself with, when I was dealing for a little short period of time, rest of soul, a buddy of mine named Duke, people know him as Rod Duke.
Right.
That was my guy there that introduced me to a lot of that stuff. And it was fun. It was fun. It was fun.
Right.
It was fun. I didn't glorify it. I just did it to support some clothes on my back, which my mom couldn't afford. Then I left that and got into the weed business, which it was good then. It was chocolate tie. That was all over the place.
Oh yeah.
You know, so then I had a little name for that, Jamaica Lou, which I got from Big Mix. We might know it as Tamia, but
right.
But yeah, I had a little run with that, which it was funny. Once again, I had the nice $5 nicks. They was tall. You get 2 blunts out of a nickel, boy. But it was a run. But it was just to put clothes on my back and just to have that little crew, you know, little girl crew, Jamaica, you know. I've never been to Jamaica, but
right.
It was fun when it was flowing. When I went back to selling drugs, powder, it was crack and powder. There's a lot of things that I don't glorify and I reflect, and I can't believe I was doing that. There was times when I was a sophomore in high school. Those that know Wash Ave on this side, they used to call it Spanish Harlem. There was a lot of activity jumping on that street.
Right.
Where you come down that street and you leave, and if it was being watched, you was getting pulled over. What was you doing on Wash Ave? People named it Spanish Harlem. It was us there, but it was fun. Like it was, I don't glorify it, but it was fun. It was fun. You could just sit there all day and make your little liquor run, come back, and it was just fun. There was times where I reflect on it and just thinking about it, just kind of bothered me. It was so much fun. It was so, now that I sit back and think about it, I'm like, how could I was doing that? It was times where I leave to go to school late, but I give maybe $100 bagged up, and I leave with my mom's and let her, mom, sell these or whatever, you know, you keep 40 or whatever the case may be. I mean, it was times like that, things that I never really shared, but I've done share with people in my life. But it was, as I reflect, it was a lot of crazy things that I was doing that I was just going out of hand with.
Right.
I wasn't a flashy guy because I didn't make the money to be flashy, So I wasn't getting it like that, But I was just getting it just to support my clothing, to put some stuff on me, feed me, whatever, But yeah, there were some things that I've done, and like I said, I pay for that due to my incarceration for a situation I got caught up in that I put myself up in there. But
And how old were you when you were incarcerated?
back in November, this goes back to '94. I was actually
You were a juvenile still?
actually I was 18. I was pretty much an adult, but just hit that adult stage. I pretty much was home, bagging up by the kitchen door, and my younger brother, which y'all might know him as Tone, Eric, whatever, came busting in and was like, "Where's the gun?" Hollering, crying. I'm like, "What the fuck's happening? What's going on?" I started doing what I'm doing. Calm down, what's going on? So anyway, he was telling me what happened. I said, "Oh no, I'm sick of this shit." So he had a little altercation with an older guy, and that his nephew or somebody, my brother was being held down while the nephew to get the best of him because my little young brother had a little mouth when he was growing up. Very disrespectful, man. He'll spit on you, whatever the case may be, but he come a long way.
Right.
But yeah, I took matters in my own hands, and I went down there and I just got fed up. I was just already high on bud, not drugs.
Right.
But I was just rolling, and I just got tired, and I just shot a couple of times, and I wound up hitting them. But I ran, of course, got rid of the weapon, and the rest was history. I pretty much turned myself in after a couple of days, hiding out to get it over with. Thought they couldn't get nothing on me. No weapon, no case. Just he say, she say. But due to the circumstances, we in Pleasantville, and my father already had a record in Pleasantville where we already was known from the police station. And pretty much my mother, I didn't get the information from my mother that I have a lot of bullets, ammunition in the basement. Get rid of them. Of course, she let them in the house, and they found all the ammunition and just put it together. This came out the victim. This matches. I thought I could beat the case. I took it to trial. I rejected my plea deal, and I lost trial. And they smoked my boots there.
So how was that like?
That right there was a big change. Being 19, didn't take my plea deal, and I was going to trial. My trial was only 4 days. It was over. Boom, 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 guilty on all counts. So I had 2 consecutive sentences. One with 10 with a 5, the other one would have been 5 with a 2.5. So it was pretty much 15, served 7.5, or whatever the case may be. It was stressful. Stressful being at 19. I'm like, damn, my first eligibility when I got my calculation was 2022. No, 2002. So it was back in 94.
Right.
So 2002 was a long way. You thinking Jetsons, something flying back then. We all get that, damn, what 1999 gonna look like?
Right.
What the year 2000 gonna look like? But, yeah, I say I think I took it, I think that was my sit down. As I reflect on everything, I took everything as, okay, I'm paying for everything I did growing up. That's the way I look at it now. Being 19 and I got classified to, they call Gladiator School, Bordentown. I had a lot of stories. Oh, man, when you come home, your knuckles are gonna be swollen from fighting every day. This and that. You get a lot of little sayings from people that, this and that and that. But I took that time, and it was first year I stressed, but I think it's like once you accustom yourself, like, okay, I ain't coming home no time soon. Your mind goes into this, it transforms to, this is my everyday routine. You just start flowing with it, so you forget about the outside. And that's pretty much, I can say that's pretty much how it was, because I always had a support system on the outside.
But during that year of stress, What did you stress about? And the reason why
More
I'm asking,
freedom. It was more of I'm not coming home no time soon. It's just you're going. This is your life for right now. You know that you didn't have life in prison, but you got a long way to go because jail time is slow time. You can't watch the clock. You just got to find a routine to do every day for your 8 hours to get by. So that's what I mean by that. You stress to that because it's like you just sitting there. You sit there for weeks, months till you get a routine. Now you got who you're going to start being cool with, But me, I had an advantage. I say this, Hispanics stick together faster than any other nationality when you get into the system. And back in that 94, 95, it was like that. It was like that. Once you leave the county, you're leaving everybody that you in your area with. But I think in my travels, I had an appendix that ruptured on me. I had my personal belongings was taken because I had a roommate, but that roommate he got classified to the same facility that I was going to. So word got around he was a Latin King. I knew that already because he was trying to recruit me and teaching me things like I think you'd be a good candidate, Lou, this and that because of how I was conversating with him, And I always say, I said, it's not for me. I'm not turning my bed to a nightmare. I said, I'm a person that's always want to have an input on something, and I need some change. And I said, that's a deadly person. That's a scary person. And but like I said, I had my personal belongings taken from me. But when I got to Bordentown and intake, I was already pulled like, yo, you Lou, right? This and that and that. Such and such. He has all your belongings. You hungry? I was already pulled in, taken care of by the Lion King.
Right.
I don't know these people, but I went along with it. I already was like a little bit, into the system, so I was aware of everything, blah, blah, blah. But just like an awareness, it's a different awareness from being in the streets when you are in prison. And I just adapted to it. Just, okay, let me use my Hispanic for my advantage.
Right.
And I know some Latin Kings, and stuff in there is totally different streets, So I already was like, you hungry here? Open up, show me all types of food, and like you in, what I mean? I said, oh, that's just to make me, trying to recruit me. And I seen the guy when he got off work, and he's like, hey man, I'm sorry, I took your stuff, but I know we was coming here and said, oh, your stuff's still the same. And all my mail, personal shit was still there, and it was like, oh, that's love. But it's sad to say that once I knew I was going to be in this tier for all these years until I get short, that it was a ball. I had a lot of fun.
What does that mean? You had a lot of fun?
It was a lot of fun I had to mature fast. Mm-hmm. It was older guys, even though it's a youth correctional, right. It's not state prison, but you there with guys that been there a lot of years. So they was already they passed them teens, them 20, they already in their 30s or whatever. So they mature already. I'm fresh. You know what I mean? So it was fun because these are your cellies and everybody in these tiers, you doing mad years together. You're gonna get to know their families, if they got none, or a girl they met through another homie, or this and that and that. So me, I was the one that I got attached to because I had moms always coming. I always had the food packages. Mm. And my brother under me, which is Ed, back in that 90s, late 90s, into 95, 96 and all that, he was in the hustling game and he was doing good in that game. And he made sure Big Bro was good. I'm the one that got the nice radio. I got my TV. Like, I had everything. So they knew, like, yo, his folks making sure he good. But they never took advantage of me like that. But they know, like, how I was moving. It was like, oh, he cool. It's just, you got good support, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And I always shared. Yo, when I get that, your people come with that right. Everybody, we all was showing love. And to this day, I still stay in contact with like 5 or 6 jokers that were from up north with Camden. To this day, I could just reach out and they'd come. They out here already doing excellent. Right. But it was fun because there was a lot of laughter, when they was paying, we all, you know, we all shared tears together. When Tupac passed, we shared tears together. When Big Pun passed, we shared tears together. Biggie, we shared tears together. You know, we was fans as well, but
Right.
to see another grown man drop tears in front of another man, it's just like, that's just natural. That's just like, yo, you know, they say grown man cry in the dark, you know, we ain't had to go in the dark. But we had arguments. I was always the jokester. Mm-hmm. So I had my tear guy want to fight, but, you know, everybody would break it up like, chill, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I was always the jokester. And sometimes I thought that I was going to catch a charge because I burnt somebody with an iron because he kept fucking with me while I was ironing my grilled cheese, you know, between the paper, you know. So,
right.
You know, but it was a kid from the islands, and Monty, that was his name, and cool dude, man. I like to know what some of these people. I know what some didn't make it when they got out. They got killed. They went back out there doing what they doing. They got killed. But and what puzzles me is some of these jokers that I was down with. I just reached out to somebody else and said, "What's up, Kilo?" They still call me that. I'm like, that shit sound weird. But they're like, yo, man, I've been seeing you pay this and that and that. Yo, man, I'm so, by hearing them saying, man, I'm so proud of you. Like, I always knew you were going to do something with yourself when you got out, blah, blah, blah. That kind of like, for real, me? But I got friends out here that never got incarcerated that say, yo, I took heed to what you told me this and that. And I'm so proud of you, how we came up and look where you at now. I never really pat myself in the back to where I'm at now. I just don't always reflect and I always keep in my mind, I know where I came from, the struggles. It's fun. I can talk about it now through friends. And sometimes they might mention something, I don't remember that. But then they come to me 2 days later, I remember that, yeah.
Right,
but then I might mention something and it might crack them up. But it was fun. It was fun. It was stressful when them late 90s was real hot out here in Pleasantville, Lancaster area.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of things happened. People got killed. And that was like when I was getting short on my time because I was fighting my case to get a reconsideration because it was an acceptance sentence they gave me, even though I didn't take a plea deal, but my sentence didn't fit my crime, you know what I mean? So I got blessed. I had an attorney, my brother got me an attorney, and I got granted to a reconsideration. So they eliminated the 5 with a 2 and just gave me a 10 with a 5 step. By that time I already had 3 years in. So I know I was short, so it was just smooth selling. I didn't care about no more visits. So I broke my time up, got moved to the camps, then I went to Annandale, kept that there. But just to break my bed up, I was into the system, so I knew how to maneuver to break my bed up and how to adapt to a new set of other inmates. You know, I'm already in, it's like you get a look about yourself. Once you're in the system, you create an identity. I wasn't a tough guy. I would just know how to carry myself maturely and know what's the fucks and what ain't the fucks, you know. So it's like, and it's so crazy because it's like once people find out what facility you came from, they automatically think, oh, he gets it in or whatever. But I didn't glorify that. I didn't have that image. But if you think that I might have some shit with me and that keeps you arguing with me, I'm cool with that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
that's right.
Some people would take an image, something that they did, and try to, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I do it again. No, not me. But if that keeps you away from me, I'm cool with that. But that's the way I carry myself through my whole incarceration, hitting the halfway house and all that stuff. But I met a lot of people that, I was like, oh, snap, you know, people that you came up with, you grew up with, they didn't have it because they caught their little moments, you know what I mean? But I always knew I was gonna, I had my mind set to, when I get released, I'd rather have women problems than men problems. And pretty much, I lived that women problem. I went through that women problem stuff. Yeah, because I was considering myself a charmer. You know, I was a charmer. And that's a deadly position to play because it was times where I have some stuff, man, that I would have to probably, man, I could tell you some stuff, man, that there was times where I was taking females that I was dealing with here and there to go visit their baby dads. Like I done some things, you know, I did some things, you know, because I've been there, so I know what he's going through. Look, I'll take you.
It's actually honorable.
it's crazy things, man. I was that charmer, man. I was that charmer. Like,
Yeah.
I could tell you some things, man, but it was that charmer. But it was also, it was scary because I started experiencing, you know, we have men that just can't get over their baby moms, and
Seeing you as a home wrecker?
no, meaning you're separated, but when you see her with such and such, but now you want to catch feeling.
Right,
You know, those are
right.
the stage that I had to say, you know what, I had to get out of that lifestyle, that
Right.
ripping and running, because I was getting caught up in things like, oh,
It's like the ugly side of being a lover boy.
yeah, it's ugly because now and if that man know who you are, or you know, it was some things I was going through that I said, I need to chill. Like, this is not me. I'm not trying to go backwards.
Right.
Because I know it's going to lead me to. I don't want to get violent. I don't want that person to get violent. I'm going to get cased up again. And I knew I didn't want that, so I went through all that. So I look at it, everything was meant for me to go through what I went through, to say, listen, you're going to go keep on this route, this is where you're going, because you're going to protect yourself if it get violent. And I went through some episodes, but I didn't take it there because I've learned the thought process. I was always a action before a reaction. I was always, before I even thought about the whole situation, I think about it later.
Right.
So I've learned through my release and through the programs I went into that think the whole situation out. And that's what got me by, and that's why I stopped doing what I was doing.
Right.
And that's what made me just focus in on one woman, you know what I mean? So instead of just being that, going out, drink, this and that and that, and me being blessed to having a great career job where I'm at now, and I've been there for 24 years, which is New Jersey Transit.
So what led? So how did you end up at New Jersey Transit? What made you say, I'm about to let this go and pick this up?
Well, I say everything was already in the cards for me, because my release, I was working in a lumber yard, which is another childhood friend of mine, Anthony, which is the brother of the late Duke. I was working in a lumber yard. And it was fast because when I was in the halfway house in Camden, I was working at a BJ's installing tires. So that's where I met my oldest child's mother. She was my bus driver for NJT. And which my daughter now is 24. So I met her, and that's what kind of got me to learn a lot of maturity, dealing with an older. She got me about 10 years.
Okay.
So I met her, and I still stuck it in with her when I got released, where I switched my parole from Pleasantville to Sicklerville. And that's when I got to move around through the Sicklerville area and all that, just experiencing things and dealing with someone older. And then we had a fallout because I was trying to make ends meet to be on her level, which, you know, she was cool with me just coming out, you know, getting myself together. But it's like I thought that I gotta meet her, and I was trying to working and trying to hustle. So it was a no-no with her. She's like, no, you can't be selling joints in my house. So, because she already had 2 daughters. Mom was the third, you know. So I moved back to mom's, and I worked at a lumber yard, which is Tri-County Lumber. That lasted for a little bit. And then me messing with her, that's when she got pregnant. She had my daughter. I had my daughter in 01. And when I found out I was being a father for the first time, that changed the whole narrative with me and my whole lifestyle.
Right.
That changed, okay, I'm about to be a father. So everything I didn't get as a growing up, my child can get it. And I was a proud dad, being a father, and then it was a girl, so that was over with. But and one day I was trying to find a job, babysitting. We pulled up somewhere. I put an application in for transit. I'm like, they ain't gonna hire me, man. I'm a convicted felon. But when I was doing the application, the lady said, human resource, listen, just put it down, what you got convicted for, what was the outcome, that was it. You never know. Okay, I wrote it down, that was that. I'm like, they ain't gonna fucking call me. See, months went by, I get a phone call. You still interested in cleaning the buses out in New Jersey Transit? Absolutely, when did I start? And that was it. That was back in 02. I started April 29th, 2002, and I've been there ever since. Daughter got older. I've learned a lot. I was immature through the breakup. I don't want nobody around my daughter, you know. I went through the bullshit.
Right.
And put myself on child support because I wanted joint custody. She was upset because she was like, I knew you was gonna take care of your child. Why would you put me in the system? I don't want to be in the system. because she was that tight. Like, I don't do with the system. I'm good.
Right.
So, that was my immaturity, being immature. But I learned from that. And we
And a lot of other people probably got in your ear about that went through that with women that wasn't of that ilk.
Yeah, I mean, I did it myself because I was thinking, just because you move somewhere, you ain't taking my daughter with you. Who you fucking with? I don't want no man around my daughter, being like that. But
Right.
I learned from it, and we have the beautiful relationship. You know what I mean? Me and my daughter's mother is just, I go there with no problem. But I learned from that. And the older I got, the more I being at New Jersey Transit opened up new friends, new associates, people it's a career job, you know what I mean? I wasn't just there for a paycheck. I looked at this job as a career.
Right.
And that's what got me hanging on this long now, 24 years, and I ain't worked hard since I've been in transit, you know what I mean? But
so your career is about the same length as LeBron's.
Pretty much. Pretty much, if you look at it. I just didn't jump ship, you know what I mean? I'm on one job, you know what I mean?
Right.
He has multiple jobs. That's the difference. But
That's a good one.
yeah, but it's at this job here, I got to meet some cool white boys, man. It was a time where my brother, before he got himself together, and he caught a case and he needed a co-signer, another co-signer. I co-signed, I need another one that has a good record, job, no job. And I said, let me ask my white boy. This white boy don't even know my brother or nothing. He said, oh, fucking Lou, I signed. Where you gonna go? We fucking get him. We're chasing myself and turn his ass in if he jump bail. And he went out and signed, and me and this white boy, like, cool, I can go to his house anytime, and he's younger than me, but and just for him to just co-sign for the situation, jeopardizing his family and everything, was like, wow. That just took me to, like, there's people that stereotype, there's people that don't stereotype.
Right.
And to this day, I'm still cool with him and his whole family. Like, I can just go in there, walk in this house, whatever. It's just one of them. And he called me and said, what's up, buddy? Blah, blah, blah. And he's about to retire at transit. And he's still at transit. But,
they say the problem with a lot of people that come from the urban environment is they're never socialized.
Yeah,
and because they're stuck in the box their whole life and dealing with inner traumas where they never get to see an outside perspective on it.
I think, what allowed me to be where I'm at now and what space I'm in, I've picked up, by me socializing with different, like, outside of my environment, it's got me to where I'm at now, to this place of business with mechanical, you're dealing with customers. You have to know how to listen and not speak at the same time, because we can sing together, we can't talk together. To listen, take a plan, because this is what comes with the title, and allow what you're hearing to try to bring down the temperament and everything, because a customer has every right to be upset on a situation with a vehicle. That's just rule number one.
You're not talking about me, are you?
No, but it is what it is. But I think what got me a long way, and it still is.
Hold on, we jumping over stuff. What led to you becoming a mechanic and doing that? Or like this is because this was unique. You already have a career.
Correct.
But then you still end up starting an entrepreneurship during having a career.
Well, actually, Turner Venture was there before my incarceration, before my career job present.
Okay.
It was always there. It was just never taken for granted. It was never like, it was just there. I went to school for auto body and vocational school for auto body work, but I never got into it. I was always falling asleep, but it was always there. But then doing my first brake job, it was on an expedition. I'll never forget it. During my release, I was working out of my mother's garage. My first brake job, I put on the brakes backwards. And I called my buddy Anthony to this day, and I love him and all, and I said, bro, I put these brakes on, and they grinding when I'm test driving it. He came and looked. He said, bro, you got the brakes on backwards. So I was like, oh, shit. It was crazy because I put them this way instead of this way. I was like, oh. And from then, I became the brake specialist. Like to this day, when it comes to brakes, you know, at the shop, like, call Lou, you know, see what's up with these brakes. I became the brake specialist. But just having that, once again, I look at that too, like, you in the business of this, and then you work for a business, but now it's really it's not easy. It's hard, especially when you have a partner with you. So, because your time zones are two different things, you know. So I learned a lot being in the business. Now the point of my life where I'm at now that I'm closing in on my retirement from transit, which is 2029, which is up the street around the corner, up the hill. But I'm looking for my mind frame, my just watching my kids grow. It's taking me a different direction in my life, so that I'm following. I'm not going to ignore it right now. I want to stay right. I'm following and fading away from the mechanic business and trying to find something more time in to put in with my kids. That I want to see where they're heading. What, you know, where are they, what's they liking? Because by me there was times where I was getting off in the morning because I work great shift. I get off, I don't go to sleep. I used to fall asleep under a car or something, this and that. I was running too hard. And that takes a lot away from my kids. When I get home, I don't want to play around. I want to just lay down. But now as they're getting older, I'm starting to see them getting into things. So I want to know where they're heading. So that's why right now, to present, I'm fading away from the mechanic life. Not that I don't love it, but I've done it for so long. I might not have 30 years in it, but when you put your all mentally in there, and then you get into the customer, it becomes overwhelming. So I don't have to put the time in to say, yo, I'm done with this. You don't have to. And I don't look at it like that. So now I'm just fading off. It's a beauty thing that I could go anywhere and make it happen. I can always pick and choose what I want to do, if I want to work on a car or not. That's where I want to be at right now. And I'm gradually fading off because of my kids getting older, so I'm following them because they're getting into things. I want to know where they at. Because that's what we lose when we don't follow our kids and what they into, because I don't need them to be shown stuff through TV or these tablets or whatever the case may be. I want them to be hands-on with things. But I think my youngest one is the one that's going to follow this mechanic world, mechanic business, because it's going to be totally different when they get older. It's going to be more
technology.
Right, pretty much. So that's where I'm at now in my life at 50. Hitting 50 kind of like, I've been doing a lot of reflecting on everything, just your upbringing. I laugh because it was like, wow. But then I sit back, you know, when you look at 50, okay, I'm 50. And I heard, like, you know, I have more behind me than I do ahead of me. You know? That's the way I look at life. You know, sometimes the wife be like, you can't think like that. You know, like, you shorten your lifespan. I'm like, no, but that's just reality. Like, do I got another 50 years in me? You never know.
You might, but when you put things in that way, it magnifies your present, and it make you expand on each day instead of taking it for granted and thinking tomorrow's promise. Like, each day becomes more valuable for you, and that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, but that's, you know, and I think it every day. And self-evaluation and doing an inventory on yourself is what gets me by every day. Because what I mean by that is, I think we should all do a self-inventory on yourself every night when you go to bed.
And what does that mean to those? The reason why I ask you certain questions, it's not that I don't know the answers. It's for the viewing audience. A lot of them are trying to figure it out. So that's why I'm asking them.
Inventory, when you do a self-inventory on yourself every night before you crash, sit back, think about how your whole day went. Rather you have a business, schooling, just in general, whatever it is. Think about what you did all day today. Who you had an argument with, or nice talk with, what you seen, what you experienced. So when you doing that, you're separating all the good and you putting all, man, I could have did this shit different, this and that and that, or blah blah blah. I had a bad day today, or blah blah blah. You learn from it, so when you see it coming again on the next day, you know how to handle it. You know how to tackle it. That's why I say if you do that every night, your following day will be much better. It's just going to be better and better and better and better. It's just going to repeat itself. That's why I say self-inventory on yourself goes a long way in your everyday activities. You know, we all grown now. We all go through our own little thing. We all got our own chapters. You have this business. I have this business. That man has that business. But we all going to experience things in that field.
Right.
And that's why I say you take that inventory on yourself every night. Try to separate, work out. Let me improve on this one. Let me improve my demeanor this way. Let me improve this. It just makes it better. And by not only that, but that person that you're going to experience it, you're going to be helping them, and they don't even know it. You might not even know that you just helped them through something. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I'm glad I went through what I went through all the negative. I don't have no regrets. Everything, they say it was written, life is written, this and that and that, but when you inventory and you reflect on it and you chuckle and you laugh, you're like, wow, because you still see the bullshit coming at your age, and you laugh. And what puzzles me is when I see my kids be sneaky, and I'm like, I did that same shit too, and it just blows me, and I'd be so joyful when I watch them try to be little slick thing, and I'm like, I did the same shit. And they look at me like, you did that? Yes. Yep. Like, I used to do all that. And, my wife gets on me like, why you share with your kids? Why you talk to them about jail? Or if I'm riding past somewhere, I'm like, this and this and that and that. Cemeteries, this is where we all go.
That's right.
They might look at me like this, but but they know.
That's right.
You have to, because it's reality. So I want to start at my kids, because as they get older, they ain't gonna be, what? No, they're not gonna be scared of nothing as they get older, and they're gonna, and it's sad that I always tell them, I say, I'm not always gonna be at your battles on what you're gonna experience. I say, I love you, blah, blah, blah. I say, but there's gonna be a time where daddy gonna be gone. Or daddy's still here, you might move somewhere. I could be a phone call away, but once I'm going, like, my dad's gone. I said, Daddy was only 50, Grandpa was only 56. I said, Daddy's right there. I got my dad's ash. I said, Daddy right there. That's my dad right there. I said, I'm trying to get y'all ready for y'all won't be taking advantage, so you can see it coming before it touches you. So these are the kind of relationships I had, because I installed it in my daughter, and she'll tell you, I know that, and she's doing good with her relationship, and she goes, I ain't got time. I installed it so much, and it's so crazy because the way we have conversations, she's like, damn, I remember all this shit you used to tell me. And it comes to the light now in her experiences. Mm-hmm. And now me being a father to 2 boys, it's like, that's my resurrection all over again. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna be resurrected, but they are my resurrection. Now they growing up, so I'm trying to feed them. You know what I mean? Go further than where I've been, that's right. Where I went. So that's why I teach them things that, that's too early to talk to kids about death, this and that and that, or da. No, to me, it's reality. That's right. So if I could teach them reality on things, they're not going to be blindsided by dumb shit that comes at them.
That's right.
So
And when you are a success in life and you keep all these things from your children, other people can't wait to be the ones to tell them, and they always want to tell them a worse perspective and an exaggerated point. To try to downplay you later. So when you keep it honest with them, it make them love you even more and be prepared for this, so they don't be blindsided.
Right. What's going to be is going to be. You know what I mean? So it's just life. The way I look at life now it's for the kids now. That's why I'm moving the way I'm moving. Mm-hmm. It's not that I'm losing interest on my passion of vehicles or et cetera, et cetera. It's my kids that I want to get into now. And that's why I'm moving in the direction I'm moving to in life. With some, family members or close ones, like, yo, you're not there to shop much. You're not hating this and that. You could talk to my brother. That's my business partner. That's him. I'm fading this way. And they not understand, you know what I mean? But hopefully this right here will let them know, you know, if they're watching down in the future, like I'm headed somewhere else, that my body is, I'm focusing on my kids. They're getting older. I have to, it's a wicked world out there. And this, and my kids' generation is crazy. So I have to tap into them. I got to follow where they going.
Absolutely.
I got to navigate them. I'm actually following them, but they don't even know it. I'm behind them.
Yeah.
I'm right behind you. You know what I mean? How they follow the president?
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing, following them.
That's right.
Because they trying to find their own little, I got to see what they likes, dislikes. I have to tap into them because these kids now are some smart kids. They might not be mature like how we were when we were younger.
Right.
But now, you being lured into this the new way, either gay or straight. Like, I had to get into my kids.
That's right.
I didn't have to worry about that back then.
That's right.
We was horny little jokers.
That's right.
You know, we was smelling clothes and, you know, we was doing all that. We was the real pervert, but we was
using
the
our
cute pervert.
fingers in the wrong way.
Yeah. You know, we were some horny little perverts. We wasn't like really trying to pull your shit down.
I ain't
like
gonna say
that.
we were perverts, but we were just.
I mean, that's the
we
way you would label it now.
advanced. Yes.
We was itching to humble something. You know what I mean?
We were all the same age. So like a pervert is like an older person trying to do something.
Well,
to the younger,
yeah.
Or being a peeping Tom.
True.
And
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
Well,
We just was freaky. We played hide and go
we
freaky.
still did all this like, oh man, but you know, I mean, I've done some things, or you might see your man tapping something, and we was like, yeah, go ahead, get that, yeah.
That ain't perverted.
No, I'm not saying that's pervert, but I'm just saying I remember all them.
Only reason I'm clearing it up because what other people see as a pervert is not what you're saying.
No,
I don't want them to have this under the wrong context.
No, but you got to think about it. They might take the word pervert and just say, that's some old pervert stuff. You want to smell somebody's panty. No.
You was learning.
No, that was just, man. I rather smell panty than draws, you know what I mean? So
the pheromones attracted you to
yeah, we was horny little devil. We wanted to experience that. Like, I remember experiencing my 13 in my first sexual intercourse, and I'm like, oh, what's this thing? You know, what's this tingling coming out of me? You know what I mean?
You was learning.
That's another story, but
yeah, we got that part too.
And I couldn't stop humping that damn girl. I kept going to her house, throwing rocks at her window. Come back down there. I want that feeling again.
That's
But
right. That's right.
It's a you know, what got me this far is also, you can't forget that, you know, some of us, I've seen people come out the system and go right back to doing where they left off, but they thought that them doing it a different way, the results won't change. The results never change.
Right.
They're always going to be the same. You're going right back in.
That's right.
And I navigated myself away from the circle I had. Not that I was better than them. Yeah. It wasn't me no more. I had fun at that run. And once that's why I think transit also, because I got the new surrounding of career workers. Right. And that's what drives me away. I was invited to this, I was invited to that. Hey, come through, I went to his wedding. Like, I was invited, and then when you're invited to a place like that, then you meet other people. So that's what took my mind to, man, this was about. I met older people at the job, older women, and they say, listen, you're at transit, we got a dope credit union, use the shit out of them while you're here. Don't wait till you 40, 50 to start trying to get a house. I got my house early, almost done paid for. So it's like, I thank for them, all those people that was just, I was sitting there listening.
Right, get a sense of direction.
Right, so I think that those people that I put myself in, they wasn't squares in me. It was somewhere that it just guided me. Look, this is what it is. You work, blah, 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 you kid, you leave it over to your kid because you can't take the shit with you anyway. So at the end of the day, I'm glad that I've seen people go in and out of the system. All I can say was like, damn. And the beauty part about it is me being incarcerated, getting really where I'm at now, the beautiful part about it is my brothers follow my step. I never thought of thing like that, but when they tell you, and sometimes they might not tell you, but they're like, man, fuck that. He can do it, I can do it. My other brother, HVAC, self-employed.
That's right.
Other brother, he's the only one with no kids. I mean, he works, you know, he just works for a living, and he gets to take vacation when he wants. Baby brother, he's the business owner now. I give him the keys, he's the business owner. And I just hope that we all be successful in anything, because at the end of the day, we all choose our own paths.
That's right.
We were born by ourselves. We're going to be out of here by ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we blood and everything, but we choose our own path. And don't take nothing for granted. Cherish what you got and ride it out. And with me, like, I'm pretty much all over the place, meaning I just never knew that I touched a lot of people's lives until they started telling me. I'm like, get out of here, man. I joke. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. But you never know who's observing you. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. I deal with the enviness people. That's just what it is.
That's what come with it.
I think he this, he that, or this and that. No. Oh, he got a nice house. I don't care about none of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I never applaud myself, but when I pull up to my driveway, sometime I go home like, wow. I thank my partner, my wife, for everything too as well. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that helped me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very bad with managing money. I'm very bad. She helped. I don't control no money. All I do is work.
Mm-hmm.
But we choose our own paths. But now that we have kids, we are parents. I know my mom is glad that we are hell of a parents to our kids.
Right.
Because some parents, being raised like that with 7 kids by yourself, you would think we ain't gonna be good to our kids because we went through the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But we installed our mind, we seen too much. Drugs, getting high, smoking that pipe. I seen all that shit. And ain't no shame, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I just knew that I'm gonna give my kid everything that I didn't get. So, and that's where I'm at now. I didn't lose it when my daughter, when I separated with her mom, I was up every fucking day getting off work. Every day, taking my daughter, picking her from babysitter, taking her to her mom layover, breastfeed her, take her, drop her off to her sister. I was doing it every fucking day when my mom was like, "You doing too much, you doing too much." No, Mom, I'm doing my job. Mm-hmm. I get off work at 5 o'clock at Charles County Lumber, I'm up to Sicklerville. I don't get back home till like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
Then I go right back to Tri-County at, 7 in the morning. I was doing that every day. Mm-hmm. Rotations every other weekend with my daughter. Even if it wasn't my weekend, you want me to come get her? If you want, I'll be right there to go get her. But that's why we had the relationship that we had. You know what I mean? I get offended sometimes, baby dad. I ain't no fucking baby dad, I'm a father. Sometimes like, you're a good baby dad. No, I'm not a baby dad. I had it out with a female friend of mine. I took that serious. I'm like, I'm not a baby dad, I'm a father. You know, baby dads, and it's just hand there. I'm not a fucking baby dad, I'm a father. Right. But at the end of the day, I'm glad I chose the route that I chose through, separating myself from the circle I had. But now I notice myself going back, reaching back to my childhood, which is yourself, Buck, Wham and Salmon. I'm going back because where they at now, what they doing. Oh shit, you too? You doing? And it's like, some of us make it, some of us don't. Mm-hmm. And I'm going back to the ones that I got in trouble with, got an ass whooped with, is doing something.
Right.
I don't knock nobody else that I know that they got their own little paths, a lot of them. Like a couple little handies that I mess with, they doing what they doing, But it's good to go back and reflect on the fun time.
Right.
And now that they're in the place of business, we can relate a lot more than just reminisce on the past, but we can relate more in the business. And where I'm at business-wise, me learning a lot, I can adapt to you guys' business and network and generate more. Like, I love doing that. I have that charisma, I have that sense of humor that I can attract a lot to your business. That's just, I noticed that I'm good with that.
Absolutely.
And that's why I faded away from the mechanic. I'm gonna be good without it. Because I can pick and choose. I could go run somebody's business and just to attract. I think I'm noticing myself that I think that's my lane. Mm-hmm. So I'm following that because I can attract. Me coming here doing this, interview and everything is dope. I'm settled in now.
Right.
But I'm going back to my childhood people that I have access to in the physical form, and I see what they're doing. I'm like, man, I can attract. Can't wait. I was excited when another child Buck came and got about his business. I was excited. I'm like, damn, whoever thought we'd be doing this? Who ever thought? You don't think about it.
Exactly.
You were just thinking about just your life and your life conditions. You know, you lost who you lost in your upcoming. But whoever thought that this the route that you're going to choose, and we're going to be talking about it and seeing it grow, prosper.
Absolutely.
And I can share things with him where it's going to be bumpy. It's not what you could be thinking. You're expected to get that turnaround. It doesn't happen like that. That turnaround never comes overnight.
That's right.
But when you stick it out, you're going to preach that shit at the end. You're always going to put out more than what you get. You know what I mean? So I've learned that, and I know I can share that with my brother.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can share, listen, you're going to put out more. You're going to count everything you put out. But you ain't going to see, you barely going to, you can count with your eyes closed what you're getting, but that shit gets greater at the end.
That's right.
Because you pushing it out. And not knowing, I'm going to help you at no cost.
Yep.
And this ain't no cost. It's all word of mouth.
And this is being recorded, so you know y'all know me, I'm holding him to it. He's 1 year older than me, I'm 1 year older than Buck. But I like that he a year older than me. Buck hate that I'm a year older than him.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, that's right.
But
This is excellent. So I ain't gonna drag you on too long. You had a lot of great things. I knew it would be a great interview. How did you feel when you found out what I was calling you for that last time to arrange this?
it was I know you always had the channels, and you was always. I never seen this as growing up that you was into this other digital stuff, but you was always a thinker.
No.
I know.
How did you feel about when I wanted to interview you about your story?
It was easy because we come up together, so it was more. I was comfortable. There's no sugarcoat nothing. You know, I don't regret nothing.
Absolutely.
I could get more and more into it. There's a lot of things that I might take with me to the grave. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a lot. I can remember a lot of devilish things, but it's a learning experience. You know what I mean? I could go on and try to find things. It's long. It might not be enough film for this, but
right.
It's seen a lot of things and going through a lot of things. Just it's part of life. And some of these things, a lot of people don't come back from. It can traumatize them. They get put on meds, depression pills, and I thank God I never had to go through that. I just dealt with it. I dealt with my self-insecurity, whatever. I got out of that shell, and it is what it is. What's going to be is going to be. But it's when I found out I got the opportunity to do this, I just knew that it was, you can't duplicate this. You know what I mean? It was just authentic. This is what you see, what you get, and I could go on, and like I said, I stay in my lane, and I'm glad I went through what I went through to get me where I'm at right now. And like I said, to anybody listening out there,
before you do that, I got two questions. I'm gonna ask you one at a time. If we had the ability to time travel, and you was able to go back, 50-year-old Lou, and talk to 15-year-old Lou, what would you tell him? Yourself at 15.
At 15, better in schoolwork. Focus on school because I didn't focus too much on school. I was there just for the attention. And, I had the curls in the hair, but I can reflect on school. I wasn't really there. I was the class clown. So it was more attention. It was sad about this, that my soon-to-be 11-year-old is so much like me. It irks me. I scream at him, and my mother tells me, why are you screaming at him? It's like you screaming at yourself. That was you. Always want attention. Woo, screaming. I let him ride his quad yesterday, and he just got to ride past his little friends, how they got the little e-bikes, and woo, like, why you want attention? And it irks me, and I'm like, damn, that was me. Oh, it irks you now, huh? Because your son doing it. And my other son is totally different. So if I could go back, I would focus more in school and get into the sport, because I would always play sports outside of school. Because I could never, either you're going to have good grades to get into the sport, or no good grades, you ain't playing no fucking basketball.
Right.
Or football, whatever. Like, I played all that just cause, you know what I mean? Like in a little short little field in front of the schools or whatever. We just played because that was the thing to do, you know what I mean? And play a little stupid game, put poop inside your hoods or your coats and all that shit. And when you put your jacket on, you got to throw poop all in there. Like, we did some funny, devilish things, man. Like I said, a lot of things just pours out when I more think about it.
Right.
But yeah, I go back. It'll be more into the school, because that was my high school years. I was a clown. I was a clown, and getting suspended for it. I wanted that attention. I was cut a class, which everybody did. Smoke a little weed, go back to class. But I was that clown, and I was doing stuff just to be seen. Like, if I come to school, I'm selling a gun to somebody. You know,
right.
Not knowing that gun might kill a person that you was cool with, or, you know, you don't think about that until you get older, whatever. It could have, should have, would have, but, you know, it didn't happen. But it was just like, man, I will go back and go back to grades, go back to school, focusing more on school, start being the clown, because I wasted a lot of education where I didn't get education until I got older on my own through people. I didn't get to graduate, you know what I mean? I left at my junior year. So by losing trials, so I didn't get to graduate with everybody, you know what I mean? So I had to go do it the other way in the system. But I would go back to there. I could have enjoyed more. But when I see people that knew me in school, and I might see them somewhere at a function, you remember me? Remember you had all the curls? I'm like, I don't remember. When they show you old school pictures, I'm like, oh, she got to pass me. But they're like, I'm glad you look so good. You're doing good for yourself. I see you, beautiful kid. You never know who's observing you.
That's right.
And that's crazy. And that kind of like, it's telling me, thank you, man, thank you. And I thank myself for just taking a different turn through my release. And my conversation changed. Everything just changed about being a father. Took me to another level. You mean, so when people start saying, yo, yeah, I see your kid. I'm like, how the fuck you see my kid? You know, but social media is a motherfucker.
Right. We're back. We about to be coming to an end. But the last question I wanted to ask is, what would you say to the young boy that's in the hood right now, that's one conversation away from being asked to sell drugs, being asked to sell guns, being asked to be something that could mess his life up? What would you say to that guy?
Real short and simple, man. Get yourself a mentor. At this day and age, I'm sure I'll know his parents, mom or dad. Get yourself a mentor. And that's really it. Get yourself a mentor. Do things, you know, not so much do things, but just sit back and listen. Because at the end of the day, you know, you still gonna have to make the choice out there in life. But I think that to give it a shot, to give you a different scenery, a thought, get yourself a mentor. And whatever you choosing to, whether you're pretty much pressured to do, or you have to follow that route because that's what it is, or that's what your mans and them do, or if not, you punk, you chump, you do this and that and that and that. Get yourself a mentor, because what you're doing now has been done already. And I can tell you where it's going to lead to. But there is an outlet. There is an outlet. Trust me. There's an outlet. All you got to do is just listen. Get yourself a mentor.
Very well said. And so we're going to bring this to a close. I want to say thank you for coming through, sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, very, very honored to have you in the place.
Got more in store.
Absolutely. We're going to hold you to that. And this was actually better than I was even anticipating. You know what I mean? And I believe that what the only thing that can actually save an Indian is a chief. So I thank you, Chief, for coming through, and I'm sure the Indian is going to thank you later. And I'm just saying that, as a term that everybody's accustomed to, but it's like basically the elders talking to the youth, and we need more of that because a lot of times the elders that talk to the youth are negative, and they already ruined their lives, and they're trying to revisit that in a young person's life. So I just want to show great examples of great men leading by great examples. With that being said, I am you, you are me, we are everything. Peace. It's love.